You're most likely broke when you're living in college, and it's your first time living away from your parents and by yourself. And when you're living by yourself, you have more responsibilities on your hands, like loans, food, rent, or your car. When I started college, I really didn't know that bills can stack up easily. Like, damn, I wanted to buy protein powder for the next month, but I have to pay for my loans and my rent. Even for groceries, those cost me a lot every single month. Now, if you're smart, you'll be able to cash flow for your college and not get a loan. But everyone can't do that yet, especially me. I was just in college, so here are the 4 financial hacks I learned while I was in college. The first thing that you can do is become an RA. To be transparent, I never became an RA, but I've heard a lot of benefits from it from my friends. Of course, there are pros and cons to being an RA, so I'll start with the cons. You will have more responsibility. That means you have to attend meetings, go to dorm to check in on the students. You have to make sure the students in the dorm are behaving accordingly, and you also have to let in those students who leave their keys in the room back into the room or into the dorm. I heard it can be annoying sometimes because you have to stay up later than you want to, especially for the night shift where you have to stay up till 11 or 12 a.m. and most of the time you want to go to sleep by then. But there are financial pros to this opportunity. At my college, an RA gets free housing, so that means they get to stay in the dorm that they're watching, either a single room or maybe double, really depends on the dorm. But that means you don't have to spend any money on housing. You get a free dining plan, which means you don't have to cook every single night, or you don't have to go get groceries every single week. That means you also don't have to spend money on food. And lastly, depending on the college, they might give you a stipend as well, so more money on top of what you're getting. So that means you get free housing, free food, more money, and all you have to do is babysit students. I honestly wish I took on this opportunity because I could have saved a lot more money on my college. So if you're able, take on this opportunity. Alright, the second tip is to work at restaurants on your campus. In my junior year of college, I decided to work for Panera Bread on my campus. I was pretty desperate for the job because I didn't have anything during the summer, so all I did was research, but I didn't get any funding for it because I forgot to add a timeline for my proposal, which means it didn't get funded, even though it is for the summer, and that program is just for the summer. But anyways, I was dead broke with $13 in my bank account, but I decided to stop being a lazy loser and work a job. And even back then, when I was a sophomore, I applied to work at a dining hall, but I thought I had too much on my plate. I had athletics, I had a club thing, I had academics, content creation, and even relationships. So I thought that was my capacity, and I didn't want to spend any more time or of my free time on work. But guess what? I was able to handle a job working 12 hours a week. Of course, it was a boring job because all I had to do was either make drinks or make the food. But the great part was that I was able to bring back food whenever we close. That means I didn't have to spend any time or money making dinner. It was free. And for the men out there, at Panera, we usually have a lot of desserts left, so you're able to bring back some sweet treats for your girl if you want to, or for your friends or your roommates. The downside of this job was that you get paid minimum wage, and you get to see a lot of food waste. But you get paid, and you get free food and drinks. So going into my senior year, I decided to do catering for my school. And that was honestly more exciting because you get to work different events every time, and you get to bring back food whenever there's a lot more left. For example, sometimes we had pre-made sandwiches or pastries where there's just a lot because there's a lot of food waste, and we were allowed to take it back because no one else wants it. But again, the downside is that there's a lot of food waste that you see. For events, people touch it, it's been out for too long, and unfortunately you have to throw it out, even though there's like 3 trays or 4 trays of the food that could be used somewhere else. So work a food job to get free food. I was able to do 20 hours a week of working athletics, content creation, academics, professional club, and even a girlfriend. So if I'm able to do that, you can too. Alright, the next tip that you should do is work a shit ton during the summer or continue working in the school year. Like I said before, you should be working throughout the semester if you can, but the better move if you want a less stressful semester is to work a crap ton in the summer. Going into freshman year and sophomore year, I regret not working a crap ton during the summer. I thought during the summer I could work, but not as much as I should because I wanted to relax and rejuvenate from that stressful semester. But that was a mistake because I didn't save enough money for me to last throughout the semesters, and that just added financial stress. So if you stacked bread during the summer, you have less financial stress because you're able to use that bread, all that some money that you accumulated during a semester where you don't have to work a job and you can focus on your academics. Although I was able to work during my semester, like I said before, it really decreased my quality of work because I have so many things going on in my life, right? I have 7 or 6 different priorities, which means that my quality of work decreases. So during the summer, make a goal to save 10 grand or more. Work multiple jobs if you have to, find an internship and find a part-time job on top of that. Work like a mad dog, 6 to 7 days a week. It doesn't hurt to have more money in your bank accounts, and you don't want to go through the same financial stress like I did where you only see double digits in your bank account. Alright, the last tip, which is very important, is to build a budget. To understand your economic position and your spending habits, you have to build a budget. First, you have to figure out how much you need to live. So that's your rents, gas, food, utilities. For example, you can have a rent that's $500, pay $200 for groceries, and then $100 for utilities. And if you have a car, you can spend $100 on that too, which means your total monthly needs is $1,100 a month. If you want to be able to last throughout the semester, multiply that by 9 or 10, and that's how much you need to save for that semester. Of course, it all depends on you. If you want to build your savings, become an RA, work a job during your semester, a shit ton in your summer. Don't buy stupid things with your money and only spend it on things that you actually need. It's easy to build a budget, but it's hard to follow one. You can use an app like Every Dollar that tracks your budget every single month, where you make certain categories of how much you want to spend per month, and then track yourself how much you actually spent in that category. And it lets you know if you're within budget or not. If you're within budget and you're tracking every single transaction that you make, then you're good. But if you're overspending in one category or multiple categories every single month, then you have to find something to adjust it. Maybe you need more income. Maybe you can spend less on things that you don't need. Get rid of subscriptions that you don't need. It could be Amazon that you don't really need because that induces more spending habits for you. Get rid of streaming services because you don't have time in college to do that. If you're a man like me, having a girlfriend is expensive. So it's crucial for you to build financial stability. Building a great budget will take you closer to your financial goals. So figure out your needs, spend less than you make. Figure out how much you need to make per month to survive. Don't waste your money on stupid things that you don't need in your life. Keep building your bread. You have more time than you think. Thank you for watching, bro. Like and subscribe for more content like this. If you haven't already, check out last week's video right here. Remember to go improve it.